Weathering with You is a new anime movie directed by Makoto Shinkai, who directed Your Name and a bunch of others. Check out his IMDb.
I'm not my name.
Your name specifically. By the way, Derb's over there, Mission Control.
Hi.
So, this movie involves a boy who comes to, I know what you were going to say, who comes to Tokyo as a bit of a runaway. He's run away from his parents, and he meets a young girl who can seemingly control the weather. A lot of rain's falling on Tokyo. A lot of rain. It's a lot of heavy rain. A lot of Jason coming out here, and that's a deep cut for every one of you guys.
Oh, that's the name.
And now you, excuse me while I look up the names of the characters here, because as somebody that watches some anime movies, I watched Mirai as a Fathom Events, feature. I'm not as familiar with some of the names here. You had Hodaka, who's the young boy that meets the young girl Hina, and we find out why she can control the weather seemingly because a lot of rain is falling on Tokyo. I mean, like a lot. It's like the worst rain it's been in a number of years. And there's this lore behind it as to somebody that can control the weather, but they would meet a terrible fate. In other words, you shouldn't have done that. You met with a terrible fate, haven't you? Without the mask and without the moon smashing into the earth.
I think you met with a terrible fate is pretty much every Japanese mythology ever made.
There's also every Zelda game ever made. So with this, you have a boy that's here. You have basically what develops into a love story. You have, he's unable to really find a job. He comes with some money, but he's running out of money. He's underage and he needs a job, and he eventually does get a job, creating stories, kind of like the Japanese version of The Sun or the National Enquirer, where they don't necessarily go with going against celebrities, but they have their fanciful stories. They take urban legends and kind of just print them and stuff like that, because in Japan they got a lot of urban legends. Japan's a weird country, in case you didn't know. It's a great country from what I heard. I've never been, I wouldn't have a clue, but it is a bit of an odd country. And as things go on, he meets various people and especially falls in love with this girl, Hina. And she does have this ability. She gained this ability through a tragic event. I'll get into spoilers here in a little bit. She gains this ability through a tragic event. However, this ability to control the weather and end the rain, even temporarily, comes with a price. And what's that price? The price isn't good, since I said tragic event literally about 15 seconds ago. But this boy and this girl, they come up with a way that, hey, you need to raise your little brother. You need to find a way to earn a living since you don't have any parents. I wonder how that happened. So they come up with a way for her to help out various people in Tokyo by clearing out the weather for like a flea market or for a children's event or for like a big fireworks display. However, with every ability does come that price, and eventually things take a pretty dark turn a little bit later. Because it's a Japanese anime. What kind of Japanese anime wouldn't take a dark turn all of a sudden? Now, with this movie, the boy kind of becomes very attached, as you would expect. Hodaka does have, his issues because he never felt really attached at home and being in Tokyo, he never felt like he belonged to me, and this girl helps him open up his eyes to a whole lot of new experiences. He finds his first love, gets attached to the younger brother of the girl, because he's a bit of a player and the little brother helps him out. Because that's how Japan works, actually. It's actually pretty funny. My issues with this movie, and we're not going to necessarily go into spoilers just yet, because the movie's beautifully drawn, beautifully animated, the music's great, it has this cool washed out look as the rain falls. And it has this cool, bright aesthetic that just everything gleams off of it when Hina clears up, whenever she clears up the rain. Like, it has this beautiful, the sunset, everything just glows. And everybody is very, very surprised. Everybody's like, oh, she really can do this. She's called the Sunshine Girl. And not like Little Miss Sunshine. That was a vastly different movie. That would have actually been kind of interesting if they called her that. But things develop and everything. My only issue with this movie, because as beautiful as it is, as great as it's drawn, and as good as the story is, very touching story. It's a simple story, but a touching story. Weird, but it's a touching story. Is that the characters are very one-dimensional. Now, being as somebody that has not watched a ton of anime, though Princess Mononoke would be in my top 25 favorite films of all time, Howl's Moving Castle is also good. I really enjoyed Mirai that I saw last year, and I've enjoyed some other movies, or was it 2018? I think it was 2018. Years passed by really quick. I'm almost 40. This movie did have very one-dimensional characters. They had good depth in some scenes, but overall, a lot of them were just like, okay, they're kind of just there. And also my issue is that some of these characters were also drawn the same. Now, maybe that comes down to the art style, and that's not necessarily their fault. But the characters did have a bit of a samey look about them. However, beautifully drawn, beautifully, crafted, great music, great look, and it does have a touching story, and it is quite goddamn good. I was not bored during this. I was a little bit, again, with the characters and stuff like that. However, not necessarily anything that's a deal breaker. As somebody that does not watch a ton of anime, as I said. So now we're getting into spoilers. So here we go at 6:30, 3, 2, 1, and go. So if you're watching this, so Hina lost her mother. She prays at a shrine and wants the rain to stop. And, well, because she's a young girl, naturally this ability gets bestowed upon her. Well, with every time that she prays for the rain to go, even temporarily, it takes a bit of her life force. And she is eventually going to get drawn up into heaven because of a water dragon thing. I didn't exactly understand exactly what was going on.
What is with Japanese little girls and water dragons? Seriously.
We're
Spirited Away, and now this.
Oh god, Spirited Away did have that. God, it's been a while since I've seen that. This angers Hodaka because he has fallen in love with her. And wants to find every way, as any young boy, because she always says that she's 18, or she's about to turn 18, and that he's 16, so he thinks he's younger than her. Now it actually turns out that he's older than her. There's a lot of, weird lies and stuff like that. And then, as things go on, you get, Takai, he's a character. Riz Ahmed voiced him in the American version. I'm not going to go through the Japanese versions because, sorry, I already struggle with enough names as it is. But there's these various characters and various, good performances, everything. The English dub, because I saw the English dub because it was the earliest show I could see. This was one of the lesser English dubs I've seen, however, it did not take away much from it. Eventually, Hina does get taken away, and naturally, he's a little, Hodaka's a little bit upset. Okay, he's a lot upset to the point he pretty much almost fucking loses it. Okay, he does. Because he's trying to tell everybody, including the cops that are looking for him, because of an act where he found a gun and then saved her earlier from being sold into a sex, club. Because Japan. Seriously, there was some dark undertone shit about this. So the police are looking for him also because he's a runaway, because his parents have filed a missing reports thing for him. So he's a little runaway, and now that song's stuck in your head. And he eventually finds a way to get to her. He prays hard enough and eventually goes up into this weird landmass in heaven and then gets her back. He doesn't care that rain's gonna come down and wash away everything, in Tokyo and submerge Tokyo underwater, which is what happens, but he gets his girl back. So congratulations, you flooded everybody out of Tokyo, except those who are in the high-rise buildings, but you got your love. That's a selfish son of a bitch, let me tell you that much. The more I think about it, good God.
Oh boy! That girl's not the only one you've made wet.
I should have made that joke.
You should have.
I don't know why.
I'm disappointed in
I
you.
don't know why I didn't. He made a girl a little younger than him wet because Japan. So they find love. They're happy together.
Putting the D in pedophilia.
Which, never mind. This was actually This was a very good movie. Despite any jokes that are being made. He does eventually, after some probation, because, he drew a gun on cops at one point, and committed crimes like running out of the police station when he was under arrest. He got his love back and eventually reunited with her, and it's great. Except Tokyo submerged and people died. But hooray for love! This movie was very good, though. Bit bleak, but it did have its strong points more than its weak points. B+ for the stuff. Poll probably over there somewhere.
Millions are dead, but at least I have love.
Pretty much summary of this movie. Anyway, do all the liking, do all the subscribing, hit the bell, do all that stuff. I've got more movie reviews coming up. Bad Boys for Life and 2 movie reviews coming next Friday. In rapid succession, The Gentleman and The Turning. Anyway, I'm John Ritlin. Derb over there, Mission Control.
The Turning Gentleman.
And I will see you later.